Hi, welcome to If I Did It, a show where we analyze and solve pure kerfuffles from a world of beyond. I'm your host, Alexio. Oh, that was a surprise one. Just think that was safe. I'm your host, Lexi. Joining me as always is Kid Native Bloody Elbow and EUGENE'S Robinson from Aussie.com and author of Fight Everything Ever Want to Know About Ass Kicking. We're afraid to get your ass kicked for asking.
Get out of there. Sorry.
Yeah. There you go. Eugene, you're a WME-IMG. Derrick Lewis showed the world he was the baddest of the bad by blowing up Travis Browne 3 times last Sunday in an exciting UFC main event. First, a brutal knockout. Second, a post-fight octagon interview. Quote, he calls himself a man, but he likes to put his hands on women, so forget that guy. I got much more heart than he has. Where's Ronda Rousey's fine ass at? End quote. And the third time, the official post-fight presser when asked if referee Mario Yamasaki could have ended the fight earlier, quote, I appreciate him letting the fight go on a little longer than it should. I just want to get my anger out on Travis's face because he likes to hit on women. So I appreciate him for doing that. I keep it real, end quote. Was your removal of Lewis's spousal abuse smack talk from your official post-fight package a lack of appreciation for that realness and a sign that you plan to tame the black beast? Or would it be shameful if you don't get funky like a monkey, live and in public, if you will, with a dookie holding, bloody sausage bacon, Ronda booty taken, rough and tumble Texan as your moo bull in the woods?
You can't. Those people can't see Nate shaking his head. I am the embodiment of that head shake. What the hell are you doing? I don't. I'm following you.
I'm laughing at the Dusty Rhodes impression. That's what I'm doing.
I'm following into the woods, and then I forget the question, and I'm like, man, that's a good Dusty Rhodes impression. What was it? What was it? Oh yeah, something about Derrick Lewis. No, I got it. My recall is good. So I
can
like
read it again.
No, it's like a steel trap. I mean, look, aren't we comfortably still in the arena of alleged? Wasn't Travis Browne, wasn't this part of the divorce dust up, and he is a man who's innocent until proven guilty, and as far as I know, he has been proven guilty. Am I right or am I wrong?
Has not been proven guilty.
He has not been proven guilty. That's what. Sorry, I meant innocent. Yeah. So if he's innocent, you know, you got loose lips. It's great for us. We really enjoy it. But you can't be a part. I mean, first of all, it's not like they're preserving anything because the guy is done, right? I mean, you're gonna pay him what you've been paying him for 3 losses in a row, and like I said, I knuckle up. That guy's head is toast. Because all he's thinking about in fight number 4, if he gets a fight number 4, is, oh my God, am I gonna be that 4-time loser guy? I can't be the 4-time loser guy. Oh my God, what if I lose this fight? I can't, unless they give him somebody who's like half crippled, blind, and crazy. You know, dude's got to be thinking about it. I can't, man. What's gonna happen to me if I lose this 4th time? So you know what's gonna happen. It's like you put somebody in a corrective action program. Say, look, if you don't get your shit together next month, we're gonna fire your ass. Most people's performance at that point does not improve. And he's in that special place. And you know, if they're making an audio edit alteration, it's, I think, purely because, you know, we don't need the snapback when we give the guy his walking papers for him to say, hey, I'm going to sue you for defamation because you created a platform where this guy could fuck me over, affecting my future earnings, and you're going to pay. So it's an easy edit. You know, it's an easy edit. Somebody makes a snip. It got out there. It was tweeted and undeleted and then deleted. So, you know, we heard it. It amused us all, but you can't be seen. You know, I can't. It's not to silence Derrick Lewis. It's got everything to do with exposure. My favorite legal word, exposure. Because when you use that word exposure, it means somebody's about to get paid.
What's your take, Nate?
Well, Eugene's taking the responsible grown-up perspective, which is appropriate since he is role-playing WME-IMG, and they are the money players. And, yeah, I also think they're doing Derrick Lewis a favor because I think there was an element, multiple elements of no class to that barrage. I liked the sass of it, and I don't really have much truck for Travis Browne, although, like Eugene said, the allegations are unproven. But I think celebrating the late hits and the bad job by the ref is bullshit under any circumstances. I don't care.
Late hits? What do you mean late hits? I watched it with the sound off.
The
So.
hits after the fight should have been stopped. It's not Derrick Lewis's fault that Yamasaki wasn't doing his job, but there was no need for Travis Browne to get that clocked. I mean, it was clear he was not intelligently defending himself several blows before Yamasaki stopped it. And Yamasaki's the guy who's the trademark GIF around Yamasaki is doing the Mortal Kombat. Kill him! Like, this is not his first offense on this front. And
every time I think of Yamasaki, I think him getting beaten up by the skinheads.
Well, every time I think of him, I think of kill him, and this is what we saw again. And I just don't think it's a good look for the UFC to have guys celebrating unnecessary violence.
But I mean, here's the thing, though. This is it's prize fighting. You're looking for personalities.
Yep.
I mean, this guy.
I'm all for all that, and I think
it was totally quotable. So, like, why would you miss an opportunity?
Well,
to
like
take advantage of this heavyweight gold. What do you say?
Because of legal liability, and I also think because of they'd love to have Ronda back in the cage, and they don't want to have.
Well.
They would, man. I mean, they still have some residual respect for Ronda as an entity, and she could take a year off, 2 years off. She'd still be a big draw for them. Like, why fuck that up by pissing her off needlessly when they can just hush this all up? Derrick got his minute, and he talked some shit, and he got in people's heads. That's good. They can't take that away from him. As Descartes said, if all reality was a lie created by an evil demon just to fuck with him, he would still have the fact that he thought that he existed, that can't be erased. Derrick Lewis said that shit. People heard it. It cannot be truly erased from our memories just from the video package after the post-fight press conference. I mean, just let it go. You got your points. Now we move on. It wasn't his – I don't believe it's Derrick Lewis's finest moment.
It made mainstream press, though. And that's the weird thing is when they had the clip in different posts, it didn't have any of that language. So, like, and
also you got to understand this is why we have Trump as a president, because there's this kind of incipient American desire to speak truth regardless of the outcome. It's like they went to people who were Trump supporters 30 days later and said, what do you think? And the phrase that kept coming up more often than not was, he sure shaking things up, and so Derrick Lewis gets out there. I mean, look, if you're going to be a heavyweight badass in the UFC, undeniably one of the toughest people on the face of the earth, just hand to hand, why not say what the fuck you're thinking? Why not? I'm not be political.
I didn't say he shouldn't have said it. I just said they're doing him a favor by erasing it. I mean,
that's right. They're doing him a favor. No, but you did gloss it as low class. I'm not gonna pass any.
I just am not into celebrating unnecessary roughness. It wasn't classy it was funny when Dan Henderson did it about Bisping, but it still wasn't classy. And in the end, it did not make him look good.
I think it made him look great. And if I want class,
it made him look great. The rest was just gilding the lily.
Well, yeah, they asked him about it, and he goes, "Well, yeah, we got it." I mean, if I want class, I'll go to Fifth Avenue, and I'm not on Fifth Avenue, so I don't need the class,
See, I'd rather the owning up. That's what I like. I like the fact that you do it instead of like, oh well, it's like you're talking shit.
Yep.
You did it instead of like, oh, I didn't hear the bell, I didn't know, or accidents happen. It's like, yeah, I meant to do it.
Yeah, and the thing is
that fighting any day, I take that over the like. Well, sometimes things happen. Wink, wink, wink.
Oh, no,
shit, man, you did it. Own up to it.
Also, if it was me and I was fighting in MMA, you would see. It's terrible to be a bad loser, but I specialize in being a horrible winner. I'd be like making fuck motions in the cage and like telling dude next up was his mom's and. Fuck it. Why? Hey, you don't like it? What? Fight a better fight next time.
Tito Ortiz. That's why Tito Ortiz is your role model.
Oh, who sent me that thing? One of the posters wrote an article where Tito's gonna flame everything now that he's retired. Baby bottle flames on that bitch. Anyway.
Well, speaking about a Bellator fighter, Nate, you're Bellator. Days before headlining your tentpole television tete-a-tete with Fedor, Matt Mitrione complained about kidney stones, but assured you he'd be able to fight Saturday night. Turns out he didn't. Do you try the same matchup with the meathead at a later date, or move on?
You got to move on. The precedent's been set. You've invested a fuck ton of money in this cat, and he let you down. This is the Ken Shamrock theorem. This is why Ken Shamrock, after a point, couldn't get booked anymore, because he kept fucking up main events one way or the other. And Meathead fucked up. He knew he had the kidney stones. He should have backed out at that point and not instead of waiting, because right before a fight is when you're most likely to be stressed out and dehydrated and have a kidney stone act up. And if you've ever had a kidney stone, that is not pain you can fight through. That is tiny shards of glass going through your urethra. That is non-negotiable pain. That is, just awful shit that you cannot tough your way through. And
it's not like I got a dookie in the ring.
No, it's not like I got a dookie in the ring. Thank God he didn't, because I have a feeling it would have been more solid and substantial than Tim Sylvia's go rounds. But definitely don't reinvest in Matt Mitrione, and also have some fucking backup. They had Congo and Thompson on that card. They should have had that all set up so that one of them would step up and have everybody agree to it, that if dude can't make it, this is going to be an alternate and you will fight him. And
the best part about this is all that shit in the media that somebody thought they were being especially prescient the week before. Oh, the ascendancy of Bellator, a game competitor to the. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Well, that just yanked the pants right off of that shit. It's like I want to email the guy who wrote it. It's like, hey man, remember when you were saying that Bellator was giving them a good run for the money? Remember that? And then he'll write back and say, yeah. I go, okay. That's it.
MMA Journalist of the Year, nothing. You should be campaigning for a Nobel Prize.
Hey, listen, man. One thing that people look when you watch my mighty climb to victory and glory, know that the same hostility and bitterness and recrimination that I bring to this show, I will bring on an international scale.
We saw Bob Dylan finally crawl and write the Nobel Prize Committee a gracious thank you note. I predict
but this is a sad
you will write an even more gracious thank you note.
Well, this is the sad thing that you realize that these guys are not actually tough guys. Like Dylan is still kind of a nervous imposter, hoping that people won't know that he's doing essentially Woody Guthrie, 50 years later.
He's moved on to more than just Woody Guthrie.
Yeah, I find that guys that fakers are deathly afraid of being found out as fakers. I mean, that's why when you get a natural, you glom onto it. A fucking McG is worth his weight in gold, man. You can't fake that shit that well.
Well, one thing that was faked and ended up paying some funky dividends, Eugene, your amateur fighter, Joe Harding. You're the darling internets after fight footage surfaced of your in-ring clowning, culminating in a karmic KO at the feet of your opponent. Is there any positive PR spin you can make to capitalize and monetize your 15 minutes of shame?
Yeah, it's a really delicate thing, right? Because anybody could have got caught. He could have gotten caught without the fucking showboating. For example, you know what ineffective showboating is? What Elias Theodora did and what Chris Tucker did. Yes, they won their fights. Yes, everybody in Canada is happy with them, but those guys have earned my undying hatred because there was I got it wrong with my Twitter post. There was a lot of showing, but not a lot of boating. You know what I mean? So it's like, you're doing your little Tucker's doing his little Dominic Cruz derivation with the shuffle, and then they're doing, and it's like, I keep waiting for the fight. And there's no fucking fight. And at the end, they're getting their hands raised. And of course, I got no sound where I'm watching, and I'm sure they're thanking their mothers and their brothers and Jesus and this person, that person. It's like, were you going to fight? You do realize I actually, at the age of 54, I could have fucking done that. I could have avoided engaging for fucking 3 5-minute rounds, you fucking punks. So at least this guy Harding was in it. You know, he picked the wrong time to bullshit, a la, you know, Anderson Silva. It happens to the best, but he was fucking in it. So if I'm him, I start take a Michael Chandler page of his book. With the Rousey video, I do an answer video called The Harding. The Harding. So he does a dance move video, and then all of it. That's his thing now. You got to embrace that. People will love him for embracing that. At the next weigh-in for his fight, he does a robot, and then he does, and then starts out his next fight that way, and then murk the guy. Because if it happens to you 2 times in a row, you're Fred Eddish.
But it only happened to Eddish once.
It did, and it was enough to be. It would be enough to fucking known forever. It's like fucking a sheep.
You know, you're now older than Fred Eddish was when he won his first MMA fight at age 53. He came back and fought and won.
That's right. So, and I could kick his ass now. You know that.
You're calling out Fred Eddish? Oh my God!
Why
Twitter
not?
is ablaze already. I guarantee it.
Hey man, I'll take the wins wherever I can get them. I told you about that MMA match I had where the guy punched himself in the eye.
Of course. I'm not even Adonis Shalala.
I'm glad to take that as a win.
Just because the vision of Fred Eddish coming out in his horse stance and giving you that taste of that snap kick, I'd pay good money to see that, my friend.
So what do you think about our friend Joe?
Well, it's like basically what Eugene said. He's got to go with it. And the kid was pretty impressive, I'd have to say, up to the point where he fucked up. And he has not earned the right to be that big of a trash dancer. And clearly the guy was more dangerous than he gave him credit for because he ate it. So presumably he's sadder but wiser, and he's learned his lesson.
Keep in mind, we're talking about Harding. We're not talking about whoever the cat was who knocked him out.
That's true.
That guy's like just a bystander. You know, he's like the gravedigger in Hamlet. What's the play about? Oh, it's about a gravedigger who meets a prince. No, it's not. It's about the guy dancing and clowning and you getting lucky at the end, or pouncing on an opportunity he gave you. It's not about you. Yeah, the white guy is just the guy in the story that plays a role. But
you call him the white guy. Right?
Hey, I'm a racist.
All right, Milo. You got.
Let's save that one for later.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't say I was Milo. Just said.
I'll tell you what you are, though, Nate. You're an NBA groupie born after 1983, born before 1983.
Well, when you say before 1983, you mean older than 1983.
Yes. Before the NBA All-Star Game, former NBA player Gilbert Arenas put you on blast. From 1983 and down, it's over for your old thoughts. Leave them young N-bombs alone. Yobe is probably one of those out-of-shape ESPN commentators, bankrupt or just joined that new half-court lead at the Big Three, which their season starts in June. Hashtag stay woke, young girls. Hashtag All-Star Weekend 2017 is y'all time, end quote. Is this a wake-up call or a call to action?
I'm a young groupie? Is that the...
Yeah. No, you're old groupie.
I'm an old groupie. So he's saying, you got to parse this for me. He's saying, go home?
He's saying that the All-Star Game was this past weekend. Before the All-Star Game, he tweeted, look, if you were born before 1983, stay home. This game's not for you. You had your chance with Shaq. You had your chance as a thought.
Let's do the math.
This is a young girls' game for players.
If you're born in 83, you're in your 30s.
My wife is born in 83.
So she's...
Do the math, man.
That's what I'm asking you to do. I'm trying to outsource the hard parts here. Come on, Mr. Nobel Prize winner. 33. I mean, I think that's pretty generous. Whoa. I was about to just go off on a limb and be a complete sexist pig.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's talking about women in their 30s like they're done and used up and thrown away. It's like he's Hollywood or something. I mean, it's like that's the entire corporate norm in America, is to take women in their early 30s and say, you're on the trash heap, out with you, young blood. It's like, who's the actor that only dates girls that are 25 and up? Under
DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, people love him, and he just walks them to the door and just chunks them when they turn 25. Happy 20. It's like Logan's Run, basically.
Damn.
So,
It's
I mean, dude's getting some heat for it, but what would WME-IMG do? Huh? They're not casting, middle-aged actresses in lead roles. They'll have a leading man who's 55, and they'll cast a 19-year-old with them. I mean, they do that all the time. This is totally nothing out of character. There's rules in our society, and this is well within the lines. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I'm just saying in our society, it's well within the lines. And if they go after him for it, it's just because of who he is, not because of what he said.
I'm gonna take this away from the gender thing, and I'm gonna go back to a band.
But you're not woke enough.
I'm gonna go back to a band that you will all, well, one of you will remember, The Alarm.
Yes.
Okay. So
Does Alexi know The Alarm? No.
No, you got it. You got it. So The Alarm is sitting around.
These guys had hair out to here.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, and
They were you two with leather suede jackets and fringe and hair out to here. That's what they were.
Pretty apt and not good. Yeah,
No.
But whatever. So they're sitting around and they're thinking like, man, wouldn't it be great to go on tour? And people are like, it's Lost Battalion all the way. They're fucking laughing at them. You're gonna go on tour and jerk off. And so they decide that, you know what we're gonna do? Let's get some young guys. We'll just do a call, put some ads out on Craigslist, get some cats in here, forming a fake band, just need you for the PR photos. The guys show up, they take the photos, they send their photos in. They're photos of the new young hip guys that they have managed through this photo session. And then they send in their music. And the fucking labels are going crazy. And they're all over it. And then The Alarm goes, da-da! Just kidding. It's us. And you know what the labels did? Ha, that's pretty funny. Click. Fucking click. So it's like, why? Well, for the same reason that Oxbow is sitting in oh, look at it go. Look at it go. Same reason that Oxbow is sitting in, the plant is fucking things up. Sitting in Cologne, looking at some PR guys who are saying, well, when you guys have a new record out, and I go, you mean like this record that we have right here? He goes, yeah, that's not new enough. It's not. I mean, age is maybe is the MacGuffin, the red herring that we're following that we shouldn't be following. The issue is I gotta sell you buzz, and I can't if the buzz starts with no, The Alarm, they're like you too with fringe jackets, no, big hair, no, back in the 80s, you're done. So if you are an older groupie, he's like, whatever you have to do to reinvigorate the lost spirit. I mean, you can't. The MO has got to change. I don't think fundamentally he's talking about age. I think he wants that brio, that energy that comes from being fired up and being excited about being in a place. I don't know if you know.
So you're saying, if you're say a MILF, to use the sexist hate speach, that's never.
It's an acronym. That's all.
It's a term of endearment.
That's right. If you're 33 and you've never been to an NBA game before, come on down.
That's what I say, because you're gonna be there with the. I mean,
it's not the years, it's the miles. That's
correct.
What you're saying.
I knew this woman who got divorced. Her husband could. Well, I won't get into her husband's bit, but he could only last about 3 seconds in bed, right? So she put up with this for 12 years, and then she got divorced. She broke out, went wild, and she was like, "I'm gonna go be a cheerleader for like what? Some local sports team, like the 49ers." I don't want to. I'm gonna be the first one to say, "Hey, baby, you're 42 years old. What the fuck are you thinking about?" I'll go for it. Whatever. Do it up. So I think she actually ended up on the Arena League football team cheerleading squad. I lost track.
Hey.
Yep.
That's good. That's very good. You didn't crush your dream, man.
Well, my stories always end up with death and despair, so I just cut the story before we got to the inevitable loss of $7 million that she got in the divorce and total financial destitution. I cut that part out because I want you guys to end on a high note.
Eugene.
Sir.
You're a school formerly attended by NBA All-Star Kylie Irving. While guesting on the podcast Road Trip with RJ and Channing, Kylie besmirched her hollowed halls by asserting, "The earth is flat. The earth is flat." What PR steps do you take to protect your school's academic reputation?
Well, yeah, you know what you do what. Look, you ever read that book, Angela's Ashes?
Saw the movie.
Frank McCourt was one of my high school teachers, right? And Mark Bersati was in the classroom sticking pencils up his nose and fucking up and making fart noises. And McCourt just pulled his glasses down over his eyes and looked over the book, and he says in his Irish brogue, he goes, "Yeah, you're not too smart, are you, laddie?" And Barsati looks at him and goes, "Nope." And, and what I liked was the gleeful embrace of just so and then McCourt himself even had to laugh at that and just kind of went back. I mean, the school has to do it. Just shake your head and laugh and go, Kylie was always a creative young man. Move on. Move on. Once you start, you become like Joseph K. In the trial. Once you start taking seriously the merits of insane cases, you become insane. I'm not going to talk to you about that.
Man, what's your take, Nate?
Well, the argument when people talk about running schools like a business, the public teachers, school teachers always say, in a business, you cut the bad customers loose. If you don't make money on the customer, you don't do business with them. And if you're doing a for-profit school, you don't teach the kids that are hard to teach. So you keep your grades inflated by teaching the easy cases. And it's sort of like that if you're running a pro-level college basketball team, which is what this is. It's a professional operation that makes millions of dollars. You work with the gifted athletes you have to work with regardless of their scholarship capabilities. So their hands are tied. They're trying to win fucking basketball games here, people. There's no educating this kid. You try to teach this kid something, good luck, because this kid is a gift, and we exploited it as hard as we could, and everybody won. He moves on to the NBA. We move on down the road. Let's speak no more of this forever, just like Eugene says. I mean, like, where did Cindy McCarthy go to college and all the shit she spews? Like, does anybody care about that? Huh?
No, I wanted to be the guy who spoke to him and say, "Hey, Kylie." He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Hey, man, what shape is the moon?"
The moon.
I mean, the moon is flat, so it's a
like
disc.
Paper.
So if I could get to the other side of the moon, I would be flat on that side, or is it round?
Like a pizza.
Yeah. Oh, so it would be, because it looks pretty round from here.
I like pizza.
I mean, it looks like a pizza.
There's
flat.
a guy when I was in Texas, and some guy comes up to me at a gas station, right?
Watch it.
Yeah.
Hey,
And he starts talking to me about God. And at Stanford, if they had given out minors, mine would have been religious philosophy. So I get in it with the guy, and I start talking about, the Trinity and the relationship of the divinity to the idea of evil and Satan. And I
college
said,
boys.
Yeah, and I could tell by the time I left out of that gas station, that guy's head was spun. And I was like feeling pretty good about myself. And I go, you know what? What's that guy going to do now? You're feeling fucking pretty good about yourself?
He's going to go home to his wife and say, "Honey, I think I just met the devil."
Or he could just kill. I thought when the news broke about Matamoros after that, I go, that was probably the guy.
The cannibal drug dealers?
Yeah, that was probably the guy.
Well, it wasn't, I don't think.
I don't know. Anyway.
Well, Nate, your CNN anchor Jake Tapper. After a 2016 video of Milo Yiannopoulos defending pedophilia surfaced Sunday, you summon a tweet storm. Preying on children is a definition of evil. Justifying it in any way is sick and disturbing. Has everyone lost their minds? End quote. Instead of receiving universal support for your stance, you receive questions as to why Milo's transphobia, sexism, anti-Semitism, racism, and xenophobia weren't worthy of your outrage. What PR steps can you take to put the spotlight off of your oversight and back onto Milo's transgressions?
I don't know that he needs to do anything because he is perfectly. I mean, Tapper is where he is because he's perfectly in tune with the complacent hypocrisy of Middle America. So he knows what Middle America doesn't give two shits about, and he knows what will set Middle America off. And Man Boy Love guaranteed to set Middle America off every fucking time. My beef with Milo, I mean, all the things you're saying are objectionable, but I can put up with almost any kind of asshole who's saying noxious shit. It's the point at which you start organizing mobs of people to start doxing people and start threatening people, and over nonsense like whether or not somebody slept with somebody to get their video game a better review. I mean, last time I heard about that kind of thing, that was called fucking hustling and doing what you got to do to get over. I mean, since when is that bad in America? But these nitpicking these female game designers and shit and arguing and unleashing hordes of mouth-breathing imbecile 18-year-olds who've never been near a woman to death threat these people over nothing, over bullshit. That's my beef with the guy. Once you're into actual violence and harassment on a mass scale, I mean, mobocracy, fuck you. Get out of the conversation. You're not a civilized person. Fuck off. And so, I mean, you can say all the horrible shit you want to say. William F. Buckley used to say the most vile shit, just excusing segregation and praising Bull Connor and the water hoses and all that stuff. Nobody kicked him out of polite company because he was, other than the time he threatened to punch Gore Vidal on TV, he was generally polite company. And that's the problem. Milo is not polite company. He's a fucking fascist and a thug. And so be gone with you. The fact that they're getting him with this gotcha. And so, remember, was it Evan McMullen or whatever, the guy from Utah that ran for president as a third-party guy? I saw on Twitter where he was basically taking credit for the hit on Milo, that somebody had spent like $250,000 in opposition research, paying video editors to go through as many public appearances and video appearances as he had done, which is that's got to be that's money well earned, to have to sit through hours and hours of Milo's bullshit to find the moment. And it's very rare. Milo thought he was beyond gotcha because, hey, you can't call me a pedophile. I was an abused child. Hey, you can't call me an anti-Semite. I'm Jewish. That was always his gimmick. And even in the context of the show he said it in, which is some fringe freak show I wasn't familiar with, and look forward to being educated by you mouth-breathing bath salt users about it. But those guys knew Milo was like over the line. I mean, there was a guy in a wrestling mask going, "Oh, fuck you, idiot. What are you fucking talking about?" Like, even the creeps that he's associating with knew this was over the line, but it didn't come back to haunt him until somebody spent some money, dug it up, unleashed it on him. They've been saving this for a little while for Milo. And I mean, it's like when a guy who does all kinds of horrible shit gets called out of the game for something that's basically irrelevant. I mean, I'm not. The problem with Milo is the shit that he got banned from Twitter for, organizing mobs of people to threaten people and frighten people, introducing violence into the public debate. The shit he says is just. It's Ann Coulter with a dick is basically what Milo is. He's just trolling people. He's just saying outrageous shit to upset people. And fundamentally, his morality is Catholic. That's why conservatives like him, because he's like, oh, I do all this horrible shit because I'm an awful person. The priests are right. And then that, ironically, that priest thing is what got him in the end too. But yeah, good riddance. Fuck off.
David Thorstat, quote, "There isn't a young boy in America right now who doesn't need a blowjob, period," end quote. Former president of the North American Man Boy Love Association and a past interviewee of Eugene Robinson's in the Birth of Tragedy magazine. I agree with Nate 100%. And I was thinking before the pedophile blast, but post Bill Maher's ass licking, that I said,
and
look,
you notice Maher, who's a total bigot himself, was just fine with Milo, like birds of a feather. Anyway.
Yeah, Larry. It was Gilmore had to actually kind of bring some, had to have
Wilmore.
Wilmore. So I had to have his Joe McCarthy moment, with have you no decency, sir? Fuck you, asshole. I mean, and I liked Milo's. I'm gonna call him Milo, however, for the rest of it. I like Milo's his take, which was fundamentally, I get paid to be an asshole. That's my job title, So if this hurts your feelings, that's unfortunate. He says, no, you picked that Leslie Jones. She's a wonderful person. That makes you an asshole. And if I were him, I would say, and largely he has been saying, and like, this is my job. However, Nate makes a great point that nobody's brought up before now, and that's fundamentally, if I right now end the show and begin calling a viewer at random, just call and hang up, call and hang up, call and hang up, and do that 75 or 1,000 times. Make no threats. I'm exercising free speech is like exercising non-speech, right? I'm not saying anything. I'm just hanging up. They would arrest me. They could arrest me. Why? Because I've broken the law. Why?
And caller ID has been invented since you were a youngster.
Well, I could block my number, So I mean, you can't act like this guy is innocent, because he is the proverbial fire in a crowded theater. It's one thing if you have retrograde opinions about stuff, but you go, you know what? I think your fucking pants are ugly. I think your shoes suck. I think that you're stupid and ill-informed. I could spend all day doing that.
It's called Don Rickles.
Yeah. Right. Well, he was funny at least. However, when I start to organize mobs, then we have what we call, and what our friends the Nazis called, freedom of the streets. And that's the kind of freedom that's fundamentally very different from telling somebody they got on an ugly tie.
It's a cousin of the freedom to own people, basically.
Yeah,
like that's I never used to understand libertarian philosophy until I realized, these are the intellectual descendants of slave owners, and they're still pissed that they can't celebrate their freedom by grabbing some guns and forcing people to work for them for nothing. I mean, that's the fundamental thing.
Yep.
Well, that brings us to our teachable moment. Eugene, you're Uber. Last Sunday, one of your former workers wrote about her sexual harassment and your human resources department failure to take to care because her harasser was, quote, a high performer, end quote. She wrote, quote, I was then told that I had to make a choice. One, I could either go and find another team and then never have to interact with this man again, or two, I could stay on the team, but I have to understand that he would most likely give me a poor performance review when review time came around, and there was nothing they can do about that, end quote. Her harasser eventually left the company, but you're stuck with bad PR. What can tech companies learn from your madman misogyny miscues?
Well, they if you want to talk about somebody who consulted us, they made a bold fucking return volley. Oh, okay, Eric Holder, he's going to investigate us. Yeah, that was pretty. That was pretty. We could have recommended. I could see us in a certain frame of mind recommending that, and that was a good, fast triage. But the reality of it is, as far as I'm concerned with Uber, it's 3 strikes, baby. Trevor, what is the cat's name? Kalnick. If you remember going back, his first notice was when they got him. You talk about gotcha. They got some shit that he had done in college where he was recorded or something, expressing fucking crap ass attitudes about women, right? So his first public blast was as the archetypical frat boy that you fucking hate, that you wouldn't leave with your sister for 5 fucking minutes. And so, but then everybody got into Uber, and then Lyft kind of came along and kind of confused things with the fuzzy pink mustaches, and you kind of got lost in the crowd, and they were safe for a bit. But their missteps have been fucking chronic and continual. It's like why is Bellator gonna cool on Matt Mitrione, or no? Who is it that they cool on Ken Shamrock? Because how many times are you gonna stumble down the same fucking well? How many times? And this, if you want to talk about PR kerfuffles with Uber, I'm placing this at number 4, possibly 5. There was the thing at the JFK with the that was the generalized shitty fucking employee policies. Then there were a couple of well-publicized attacks with the skullduggery about don't mention this, and then they've got the kind of fraternity boy thing, and then it's like, man, you guys, remember that movie that I said I wanted to invent called The Losers, where the tagline was they had one last chance and they blew it again and again. That's fucking Uber, it's sometimes cheaper than Lyft, sometimes more convenient, sometimes they get there. But I know people who are actively choosing to fuck it, I'll go Lyft. And if you're really a union guy, you're going Flywheel. The guy who wrote me a commenter like bitterly, I can't believe you're taking fucking Lyft. I go, hey man, I'm just trying to get to the airport without paying $60. How do he goes, take Flywheel, please don't go for these union busting pricks. Because if you're gonna tell me they're giving it to the delivery companies, I'm glad, because I had to endure that bullshit in New York trying to catch a cab. But if what you're telling me is it's bad for the drivers, then I'll look into Flywheel. And there are others. See, there are others. Those are just the big two, but they fuck up.
What are you looking to, Nate?
Yeah, I mean, Uber has fucked up time and time again. This one seems to have a little more heat behind it because it's something about the way they manage their internal practices. Most of their fuck ups have been how they treat their customers or how they treat their drivers, who are not really part of the company. The drivers are like the product, basically, part of the product, and are just sausage being ground in the machine. But the programmers, now that's an asset Silicon Valley understands as an asset. It's like the old maxim about advertising. Executives have to worry because all my most valuable assets walk out the door at 5 o'clock every night, or 10 o'clock, whenever they let them out, and go home on the weekends. It's the talent. These engineers command a premium price because there aren't that many people who can do coding well. And there are even fewer women who can do it because it's an insanely sexist field. And so, I can't remember the name of the chick that wrote the Medium post that started all this, but she is a really well-regarded programmer. She writes best-selling books and gives big talks and all this stuff. So she's kind of a star in her own right. And there's fewer of her than there are of these high-performing dude programmers who caused her all this problem. So there's been ever since she became a best-selling author, there's been a tilt on the seesaw of power. And those can be a bitch. The face you step on your way up the ladder can sometimes, be that person stepping on your hands later on. And you got to remember that. And the problem is Uber's behavior has always been awful. Every situation they're in, they're doing the wrong thing. And so when you hear this story, nobody's given Uber the benefit of the doubt. It's like when we heard these stories in the New York Times about how rough Amazon is on their employees. And I'm not just talking about the chattel in the warehouses that they're literally working to death. I'm talking about their professional stock owning, MBA having employees that they were just, according to the New York Times article, just squeezing like washcloths and, yeah, I don't care how many divorces you have to get. You're fucking working this weekend, Yep. And people love Amazon. So they were like, oh, this can't be true. We got to cover for this. But with Uber, nobody's doing that because everybody who's dealt with Uber has been burned, whether it's the surge pricing, shifts as a customer, or the drivers who've been fucked over, or people in the city of Austin, my hometown, who voted Uber the fuck out. Now they're going to the legislature and trying to get themselves rammed back into Austin against our will. They have zero credibility and they're burned again. And the bigger problem with Uber is they're a gigantic fucking share price bubble. There's no way they're ever going to recoup the massive amounts of money, the billions of dollars that have been invested on them, with the expectations that they're going to have like either Amazon-like monopoly control of all logistics operations everywhere in the world, and that taxis are just the first business they're going to disrupt and cannibalize, and they're going to have Microsoft level profit margins. None of that is going to happen, at least according to the business shit I've been reading, which is making a case that Uber doesn't make money now, can't make money tomorrow, won't ever fucking make money. And it's not like Amazon where they're going to grab all the market share and keep the profit margin artificially low because it's all about their cash flow, and Bezos has controlled the company. He doesn't really care if the shareholders get that rich or not. Uber's just a fucking bubble ready to pop, allegedly. I'm not a, stock whatever, but yeah.
Like me.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. An investment professional.
Now it's time for Kid Nate's heel turn.
Oh, yes, the heel turn this week. It's been driving me crazy for months, and I might have be duplicating this one. But I got to agree with Donald Trump again about the Sweden fucking thing. Like, Trump says something about there's trouble in Sweden with immigrants, and whatever he said was incoherent, and he couldn't back it up. He heard something on Fox News out of the corner of his ear and vaguely remembered it. But, and then the government of Sweden and all the liberals on Twitter are making fun of him, and the government of Sweden is saying, oh, we don't have any problem. But I've been following this shit for a while.
Me too.
And there are people in Sweden who are very unhappy with the immigration situation. And this thing of this idealization of the Scandinavian countries, I have not bought into since I became a big black metal fan. Like, black metal is the beginning of the alt-right, and it's where the rehabilitation of Nazism. And
you got to give it some context, because people say black. You tell them black metal, they think you're talking about body count.
Yeah. No, black metal is this gothic spin-off. It's not death metal. That was Swedish. Black metal's Norwegian, Swedish in Florida for death metal. It's a different thing. They wear corpse paint. The music is insanely fast. It's screaming. It's not gargling.
Or it could be Burzum, where it's just kind of orchestral.
Well, that's ambient black metal later.
Yeah.
Burzum's first couple albums were classic black metal, or second generation black metal. But they express the societal rot at the heart of the social welfare state in Europe. And
black refers to satanic.
Yes, satanic, not racist.
brothers.
These are racists. Like Aryan black metal is considered, the best stuff. But it's like in my day with hardcore punk, except for Fang, I mostly wrote off bands that had killers in them or were criminals. I mean, as a rule, the best bands were not criminals. But in black metal, all the best bands were murderers and arsonists. And then I'm not just like talking burning down convenience stores, burning down
churches.
1,000-year-old churches, 1,000-year-old beautiful hand-carved wooden Viking churches, these cultural monuments. And vile people doing vile things, but expressing something that's caught on. I mean, it became the biggest music in the favelas of Brazil and the slums of Pretoria. I mean, there's something to this. These people are expressing something. And I think it's deep societal rot. Like Death, the first avatar of black metal, was a guy who was supposed to have died at birth, but modern medicine kept him alive. And he felt life itself was this hellish lie, and he wanted out of it. And so he was a necrophiliac, a death worshiper. I don't even know how I got into this black metal explanation. It's one of my obsessions. Sweden and Norway. So I've known that there's something fucked. There's a fucked undercurrent to Scandinavian society. And I've also been following, because of this BBC documentary about Pakistani men, this great Muslim reporter on BBC, I can't remember, had the balls to come out and put his own community on Front Street and saying, like, look, there are some upper middle class Pakistani British men who are pimping out, targeting Anglo girls and pimping them out and passing them around. And this documentary was just devastating. I mean, this was a systematic thing these dudes were doing, and it was fucked up, and it was an expression of their fucked up culture. I mean, every culture is fucked up, but Pakistan is quite fucked up. Coming to England and expressing some of their fucked upness in the context of England's fucked upness, and it was a big, ugly scandal.
To the locals.
Yes, and the English authorities tried to fucking cover it up in the interest of ethnic peace. Yeah. Dude tried to do a documentary about Sweden, couldn't get fucking anywhere. And Sweden has taken in more refugees from Somalia and other failed states like that. And look, God bless the people from Somalia. I would never want to go through what they've gone through. But when you go through that and you come from a country like that wherein civilization has essentially been annihilated, plus you're getting all this backward-ass Wahhabi Islamic propaganda funded by the Saudis, you're going to have some retrograde attitudes. You plant these people in some idyllic, bucolic, wealthy village in Sweden, you are going to have trouble because you've got sheep and these spoiled, pampered effete Europeans and these hard as nails, fucked up refugees from Somalia who are essentially like abused children. I mean, people who've been through bad shit tend to act it out. And there's a lot more to this Sweden story. And so the fucking liberals are buying into all these conspiracy theories and believing all this shit. It's just like when they defended Australia without knowing fuck all about what Australia is actually doing to refugees. And so, yeah, it's all fucked. I mean, the U.S. is fucked, but so is Sweden, and liberals are just as fucked.
I'm not even going to use the word liberals because this issue, it's not apples to apples when you talk about a Sweden. I've been trying to get a hold of Jimmy Åkesson. You could look this guy up, Akesson, and he is like the leader of the far right in Sweden, and people are leery of him because Andreas Breivik, if you remember, shot all the well-to-do Indian and Pakistani Norwegians at some teenagers at some kids camp, but Åkesson is making the claims, and I've heard this from other Swedes I know, that a woman specifically who is written for me at Ozzy said, she's not a racist at all, but spend time in downtown Stockholm, and I'm telling you, it's a problem. I'm reading the newspapers, it's a problem. And also something that people need to know, Swedes put on airs. They are, and the guy, I was in Italy, and some Bangladeshi guy tried to sell me flowers in the restaurant. The guy who ran the restaurant came in and goes, "It's terrible about what's happened to the Bangladeshi." I had to say, "Hey, yo, bro, I don't give a fuck about the Bangladeshi. I want to be able to eat in peace." He goes, "Yes, but we have to help them. But Italy is a very poor country. Why are we inviting all this?" Look, Sweden's in the same position. Sweden very much thought themselves, out of the troika of Scandinavian states, that they were, first of all, the Finns were not even to be included.
They're not Scandinavian.
Yeah, right. The Danes and the Norwegians were like their retarded cousins. They've been borrowing money hand over fist from the Norwegians for years now, because the Norwegians are loaded because of the oil money. So, so this idea that we because with ideas that they can't take care of themselves, what are they doing trying to take care of fucking refugees who come? I mean, we've seen honor killings in Germany. We've seen honor killings. And some Muslim scholars say, look, it's much better to fix the places where these people are fleeing than to try to spend your time, de-diseasing them and integrating them into your societies. And I'm going to try to find out who was it who said that. But this guy was like a Islamic scholar. So yeah, there are social problems that are being. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, for that to be, like you said, he was listening with half an ear. So Trump doesn't get to come with an interpreter. You gotta you hear something like that.
He does. The conservative media backfill, and the Republican hardliners. This stuff about Sweden is all over the right wing social media and stuff. I mean,
yeah, okay. So then he has to bust out with a few more fucking facts. You could just this thing, because you're gonna open yourself up wide to ridicule, and then you're gonna get distracted because what they like the least is being ridiculed. The guys at Soros who are Trump guys, I was laughing my ass off this morning about Trump, and they actually for the first time ever got steamed. The thing they least like is ridicule, So now he's all fucking now paying attention to the ridicule, and he's squabbling with people, obscuring his point fundamentally. But it was like you say, and like I agree, and it's why I've been chasing Jimmy Åkesson for the past year. It's a point that needs to be made, And believe me,
he's like a fucking court jester. He acts like a clown, but every once in a while he tells the truth. Just like when he said, "Your brother didn't keep us safe." Like, he was president 9/11. Every once in a while, Trump pops up with this shit. Yep. And that's all gig with the court gestures. You spew out all kinds of bullshit, and every once in a while, you throw truth in there.
And I have to say, man, walking down the street with a woman and Amon Jordan, walking down the street with some friends and watching a woman who was walking down the street, a British tourist, in a T-shirt, and watching the guys come out, rush to the storefronts to go, "Hey, yeah," because she had a T-shirt on. Did she have especially large titties? Nope. She just had a T-shirt on, man. She had naked arms. I mean, repression might be good. Like that porn star chick I interviewed, Samantha 38G. She's a Republican. She goes, "Yeah, sexual repression is good for business." Maybe, but large, long-term is no good for anybody. This guy's good. They leave a 36-year-old man is nuts. He's nuts. She's wearing a T-shirt. Stop it. But, like they say, like the Swedes, these guys come, they look at the Swedish women, they think they're all whores. So they, then the hair is not covered, arms are not covered, walking around. What do you do with whores? Well, I guess you would pay them, but if they don't have money, and we still haven't finished, as far as I'm concerned, the investigation of what happened in Cologne on New Year's Eve, right? That's a year ago now, wasn't that?
Yeah, there's all kinds of shit, and there's new shit going on, But ultimately, the argument about solve the problems where they're at, that's not going to happen. When Bangladesh floods, we're all going to have 1 billion Bangladeshis to deal with. And that's coming, and there's no wall that can stop 1 billion fucking people from making their presence felt.
You know what?
Home flood.
If they can code, they're welcome.
Yeah, they can code. They can shoot and climb fences and do all kinds of things. Eugene, talk to my segment. Protest. Okay.
I supported you. What are you?
That's irrelevant. It's about time and attention.
Okay, well, go ahead. You got some Lost Battalion stuff you want to add?
Lost Battalion, man. Matt Mitrione, way Lost Battalion. There, I did it much more efficient than you.
No, actually, I have a few. If you watch Knuckle Up, you know what I'm going to say.
Your boy Josh Thompson as well.
You're jumping the gun here on me.
And Josh Koscheck.
I'm going right to the top because it's counterintuitive.
Travis Browne.
Johnny Hendricks.
Dude, he was dancing and juking.
Yeah, before the fight, he was like, he knew right where he was. He's like, I'm old. My best days are behind me. And he was safe. He kept himself safe from the misty climbs of the woodpile. After the fight, and somebody said, okay, and on Knuckle Up, I said, I rushed from the bar to do the show. I'm not watching the post-fight presser, but you let me know if he's doing things at a woodpile-ish. And sure enough, he's like, I'm back. I'm gonna be that bit. I'm back. Boy, I tell you, did you see me out there? I was there, and you barely fucking won that fight. And you're back. You're back. Are you kidding? You're back, sir. You are back to a place.
Dude, if you beat Hector Lombard with one of your bullshit stand and stall and got a tie and the bye, you would be talking about it for 1,000,000 years.
And I would be in the Lost Battalion, non de meno, nonetheless. I mean, so anybody who's watched Hector Lombard at all knew you get that guy pushing past the second round. That fight's gonna have the same outcome. It was a dominating win. Did he threaten? Was he pushing? He was one fucking punch away from total oblivion, and now he's back against who? Against whom? Against what? Against how? This guy is. Get out of there. So I have meaty treats for him that are on a low shelf, and he keeps wandering over there, smelling them. But he's gone. He's gone. I don't see him fighting anybody and having the same kind of outcome unless he fights Lombard again and manages magically to get into the second. Yeah, you're doing that on purpose. You're baiting me. I'm not taking the bait. I'm not. Why am I seeing two Alexis here?
Because just don't ignore the man behind the curtain.
Okay, all right. So anyway, he's not my number one counter to the pick for the Lost Battalion, and then of course the usual suspects that you mentioned. I picked Mauricio Alonso to win because I've trained with him. He's a friend of Knuckle Up.
Did you notice Koscheck grabbing his eye?
Yeah,
the eye that GSP smashed.
Yeah, that's right. Some of the things like Sorrell said, but I mean, more importantly. That's a hole from which you will not emerge. And he had correctly presaged his downfall. He was like, yeah, I'm kind of doing this a long time. Yeah, I'm kind of down to the functioning end. Yeah. So he knows where he is, but I don't think he really knew he'd be there quite as quickly, which is just to say he's like Billy Pilgrim, unstuck from time. Okay. And of course, I hate to say it because it's a friend of Knuckle Up, but Josh Thompson is there as well. And I know there's this headbutt kerfuffle. I'm not buying it. Don't care to buy it. Don't think it's worth being bought. Dude has displayed phenomenally bad business judgment over the course of the years, has squandered what I think were substantial gifts, and got caught up in some bullshit. And now he's probably permanently got a home. I don't see Scott Coker, unless you are a fool. Scott Coker will keep you around, but you're not doing anything of significance, and it'll be a rare sighting to see you on the heavy end portion of the card, unless you're gonna try to relive some glory and go against Gil again. Not while he's in the UFC, you won't. So and then I have one corporate one, and I'm giving this as a sop to Kid Nate, who knows nothing, like he admitted, about the stock market, but I'm going to tell you right now, and I know you might say, Eugene, why should we believe you? You said that the Beastie Boys would go nowhere. You said that the Butthole Service would never make it. You said that Suicidal Tendencies was going nowhere. You said the internet was a flash in the pan. Yes, maybe, but I've been right a lot since. And I'm telling you right now, I don't give a fuck what Fortune magazine says. Snap, the stock name
Snapchat.
for Snapchat. No. You mentioned it. I started thinking about it when you were talking about Uber. No.
You should have taken the Facebook money a while back.
Yep. You're talking about, you talk about Apple. No. I can still fundamentally go to any place that has that Apple on it and purchase a product. A real product. Like I'm holding one right now. It's a real product. And here's another one. It's a real product. Snap. No. And they're talking about how many billions of dollars, $18 billion. How reckless can you get? Fortunately, when the floods wash through, I'm not foolish enough to have put any money on Snap, but that's going nowhere. Sorry. Kids, their front line of defense are now abandoning it. Why? Because they've got some of the cooler elements that still exist on now Instagram.
Owned by Facebook.
Yeah.
The people who operate Snapchat, I think, billions of dollars.
And they held out. I mean,
you think the guys who sold YouTube to Google ever have any regrets?
Not a single one.
Yep. All right.
Must be nice.
And if they wanted, they could still have jobs. Technically, all the YouTube guys were like, "I'm a Google employee now. You don't have to leave. You got your job.
Yep.
Something to do."
Thanks for joining us. Follow us on Twitter, Eugene S. Robinson, the Kid Nate, Alexi Old. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene. Leave comments on YouTube. Subscribe to MMANation.com, YouTube, MMA Nation, iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Read Eugene at Ozzy.com. Be sure to check out all three of us on Amazon.com.
Our Instagram, baby. I'm on Instagram as Mr. Sleep 3. That's me. 3.
What's your handle, Nate?
I think it's Kid Nate. I'm not sure.
But if you don't have any posts, you don't have any photos on your Instagram account, don't send me a request because I assume you're a spy and I won't okay it.
Damn.
That's why it blocked me.
Skin in the game. Did I block you?
I don't have any posts, I don't think.
Oh, yeah, fuck that, man. You're a spy.
We'll be back next week with another installment, If I Did It, and we don't know what we're going to be discussing because of PR kerfuffles
Mistakes.